Hi, Mike Bassett Sandiford from Horsefly, and here today to talk to you about how talent market analytics can make some significant savings for you and your organization. To start with, I'm just going to talk a little bit about what we do, how we do it, and then I'm going to jump into a real life case study that we've got from one of our partners that has made some significant savings from using the data from within Horsefly. So, as an organization, we're aggregating data from right the way across the social web. So that could be Facebook, Twitter, Google, Stack, Video, LinkedIn, you name it. There is hundreds and hundreds of different sources. And actually, we pull from over 1 trillion different data points when we're building out the information within Horsefly. We've got over 550,000 job titles and skills that sit within a taxonomy. And that's really, really important when we talk about driving accuracy and the granularity of the searches that you may want to do when you're looking for really niche skills. We've got over 125,000 towns and cities mapped globally. And actually, all of the countries that we go into, which is about 55 now, we have a native translation across all of those countries to make sure, again, we're driving accuracy of data. And that's something which is really, really important when you want to be relying on real-time data to support you and your organization. We can pull a raft of different information. I'm going to touch on some of it, but it could be skill sets, competitors, gender. We've brought out ethnicity this year. We've got education, we've got salary information as well. And again, I've touched on some of the sources from across social media, but we benchmark against government working population statistics as well to make sure that we're in the working population parameters in any town, city that we're operating and showing data in. We do pull some information from private sector sources as well, things which can support salary information, because we're also pulling in job board data as well to give that full supply and demand aspect of the data that you can get. Location wise, this is continually growing. We've got about 55 countries now, and you'll see coming soon. We're always looking to build out new regions to support the partners we've got or potential new partners coming on board. So some of the clients that we work with, I think it's really important to sort of show that it's a really broad spectrum. This isn't just data and insights that supports across the technical landscape. You know, we work with large pharmaceutical organizations. We've got the likes of Jaguar Land Rover, you can see there, and also banking and finance clients as well. So we work a lot with our the RPOs and enterprise staffing businesses across the globe. And actually, in the UK, we've got a really good presence across the public sector, supporting a wide range of government departments as well, as you can see there. But today I'm going to talk about Orsted and actually how can talent analytics drive 35 million in cost savings. And I'm sure that if you are working within workforce planning or the talent acquisition space, to be able to impact the business and potential savings of that magnitude is a huge, huge success. And actually, this is the story about how Dave Vinton, working with Horsefly, actually looked at these savings and the budget cuts and elevating workforce planning and key decision making within the different functions across TA. So the problem that Orsted actually came up with, they needed a single place to get accurate market data, and actually they needed to get that information quickly. And as a function to support the business in some quite challenging HR problems that they had in terms of hiring specific skills on a global basis. Now, I'm going to jump into Horsefly in a second and sort of show you how that was taken upon, if you like. So, look, finding new skills in places that they didn't already have existing wind industry, for example. And there's some really interesting points here that also looking to increase the level of installed renewables from 50 gigawatts by 2030. And it meant they're looking for a significant amount of hiring and investing in new markets where there's not necessarily an existing offshore wind industry. So the sources of skills and capabilities in those markets is going to be challenging. And it was important that also we're able to get that data, but also get it quickly enough to be agile to be able to follow up on all of those challenges. So at this point, I'm just going to jump across the Horsefly and actually show you sort of how that actually works. So jumping into the Horsefly platform, one of the first places where Orsted have a presence is in Denmark. So we're looking for geotechnical skills, offshore, wind, all of those types of sort of specific renewable energy skill sets. And, looking at the sort of the market within Denmark, we're able to see the number of people, we're able to see the mean average salary and then the high average as well. And again, we can change this from pounds to dollars to euros to whatever sort of local currency you may need to look at. We can also flip that from an annualized or a day rate salary both of which are going to give you some really good indicators. But so the initial point of looking in Denmark is that, well, actually, it was very expensive. But some of the other things we could start to look at would be the gender experience. Are we looking to work around our ED&I strategy? And we can see that there's a 70 to 30% male to female split. We can look at the experience breakdown and how is that going to drive salaries as an example. So we see 55% have got over 8 years experience in the marketplace. It would suggest that perhaps this average salary is not going to cut it. And actually, this green bar here is indicating to me that we're probably going to be pushing that higher end salary. One of the other things we're able to look at, and I touched on earlier on, is that we can now start to look at the ethnicity breakdown. And this has been pulled from a mass range of different data sources for us to be able to build this, from looking at 1.2 billion first name, surname, and location taxonomy, and then also overlaying against government data and Bayesian probability as well. So we have a confidence range between 85 and 95% when it comes to the ethnicity data. So very, very strong data if you're looking to address certain strategies within your organization. But what we can also start to look at in Denmark is, who are the people that are employing this skill set within Denmark? And we can see Siemens Wind Power, Dong Energy. We can see Ørsted in here as well, but a range of other businesses that we're going to be competing with to get this particular talent. We can also flick that and say, well, look, actually, who are the biggest advertisers? And actually, Ørsted, along with Siemens Gamesa, are the biggest advertisers when it comes to trying to find these skill sets within Denmark. Now, we can look at a range of other things from the job titles as well. So actually, are we aligning how we're going to go to market to find these people with what people are actually calling themselves within the industry? Because job titles can be obviously quite ambiguous and also very sort of limited to certain organizations. We've seen this right the way across our client base. But to come back to this case study where we're looking at Denmark and where did these savings come from? So we can see there are people there. But actually what I did was with this search is looked at multiple locations. So if we start to then look at, well, where else? And we did this globally actually with Ørsted, not just all of these regions. But if we take a few of these regions here, we can see, okay, so we can see that actually, Germany, there's more people, but actually there's 20,000 jobs. So the demand is going to be a lot higher. We can also see that salary, not quite as expensive as Denmark, but it is still pretty high. The UK, probably one of the most in demand when we're looking at this skill set, 43,000 jobs to 182,000 people. And what's really important to recognize when we're talking about these numbers, this is the potential addressable workforce that is out there, not necessarily people that are looking. We could argue that maybe at least 90% of those people will be, happily working, maybe 10% looking. So we start to get some really interesting metrics there. But what we did focus on, and actually one of the areas that also did look at, was Malaysia. And instantly we can see, so when we're talking about these cost savings, we can see there's a really good number of people. There is still a good number of job adverts being advertised, but this salary is an awful lot cheaper than what we're looking actually in Denmark. So what we can then start to say is, okay, well, if we're looking in Kuala Lumpur, for example, we can see that cost savings, and we talk about 60 to 70% difference in the salary. So if those people are there, where are they working? So actually, can I start to then look at Kuala Lumpur and say, if we're going to look at hubs here, where are these people working? And actually, we can see, a range of those businesses that we could let's try and pull people from. It's more affordable for us as an organization. We can look at the job title analysis. We can even start looking at university data to say, where's the next generation of talent coming from? And okay, this is looking specifically in Kuala Lumpur, but we can do this on a global basis to highlight universities where the next generation of talent can come from. But again, when we look at that supply versus demand, we've got about 14, 15 candidates available for every job that's being advertised. And we see this from the candidates per role. The metric of take a number of people divided by the number of jobs. We see our gender breakdown, and we also see the experience breakdown there as well. So this becomes really, really interesting when trying to address where we should be looking on a global basis. And there's a lot more information from within Horsefly, from looking at career path trajectories. We can look at where our competitors may be hiring people from, where they're losing talent from as well. But now, so if we take all of this information and what we've got from within Horsefly, we can start to then say, well, what impact did that have from an Orsted perspective? So coming back down to the return on investment, and what does it mean from actually taking all of that data and actually understanding it? And actually what we can see and what we did see with Orsted is the huge return on investment that actually from implementing Horsefly into the organization, they did need to build out an evidence, not just say we think, but evidence where they can sustainably grow skill sets for the long term to meet those 2030 challenges that they had. And actually, by using the platform quickly, they're able to see that potential existed to build out those different locations and the potential offices, in Malaysia and other places as well. But actually, if we take the real sort of pounds, if you like, of how that information rated in cost savings, we can see that there was about 200, 300 hires and a reduction in salary with the skill sets available around 60 to 70%. So if we take that over a 10-year period, it is a huge saving. And again, estimated to be in the region of around £35 million. I think this kind of statement really from Dave Vinton is really important. At Horsefly, it's not just about getting the data and off you go and you get the platform to use on an annual basis. It's about us deploying our customer success experts that are there to train, onboard, and support you throughout the duration of your contract. And we really take pride in upskilling the industry and talent acquisition or workforce planning people to be able to take this data and make a meaningful impact within the day-to-day work that they're doing. And hopefully you've enjoyed today. If there are any questions, we'd love to offer the opportunity for you to get some real-time data for any particular project or something you may be working on at the moment. We can get one of our data experts to sit down, kind of run through that with you, and happily share that information to see if it's something that could be implemented in your organization to make some cost savings. Thanks very much, and I hope you've enjoyed it.